Hey everybody, hey YouTube. I am new to the YouTube community. Actually, not really. I do have some other YouTube channels out there on other topics. However, for this one, this YouTube channel, as you can see, the name of my channel is Fighting Watchtower. And that is what we are doing here. I started studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses 3 months ago. I have officially stopped now. I did on Sunday, and I started going to the church I was originally going to before. And I'm glad I did that. And a lot of the other people in the church are glad I did that too, because it has brought me closer to them. I have built a relationship on that. And I have also grown closer to God because of it. But, you know, this whole experience, I am glad. I am finding people here on YouTube and on the internet. You know, if you ever need any help with, you know, getting out of the religion, I am here. You know, I have been dealing with for many years, you know, having family basically not having really much to do with me because I'm not a witness. You know, although they did include me in some things, it wasn't like a real family because, you know, it wasn't. They don't associate because you're not a witness. They don't associate. Doesn't matter if you're family. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Family doesn't matter to them. What's more important is the organization. And it's ugly. It's an ugly, ugly place. It's ugly, folks. If you're thinking, even thinking about studying with the JWs, with the Jehovah's Witnesses, please don't turn to your local church. Please turn to your local church. Do not turn to the witness knocking at your door. Please, especially if you're a woman. Especially if you have children in your home, please do not be extraordinarily careful. Extraordinarily, because there are problems within the Kingdom Halls and within the Watchtower Society, and folks, it's just horrible. I can't even express my anger. The anger I hold towards these people. However, I forgive them. The people who I don't forgive. And you will learn this as we go through. People who I don't forgive are those of the governing body. I forgive all the witnesses, even the elders, because they are just doing what they believe is right. Now, it isn't what's right, and I understand that. It isn't. But they truly believe that this is what is right. This is what is right, alright? And because they believe that, nothing will change their mind about that. Nothing. There's a lot of apologists, as I've been learning here on YouTube, who try to, who comment on a lot of these videos. I encourage you to do that because it shows that you feel as if you need to defend the truth. Now, if you are truly in the truth and you're here on YouTube and you feel as if you need to defend the truth, what does that really say? You need to come in and defend what you believe is true. Why would you need to do that? If this religion really had the truth, because for those of you who don't know, the JWs, they call within themselves they call it the truth. Okay, they say I'm in the truth, or this is the truth, or I believe in the truth. This is what they call it. They call their religion the truth. Okay, it's really, when you look at it standing back from another perspective, it is so arrogant. The arrogance, the ignorance, the arrogance and ignorance within this religion. It's not even a religion. I'm sorry, folks. It's not a religion. The arrogance and the ignorance within this cult, within this group of people, is so beyond words. You can't even describe it. So I started studying the Bible 3 months ago, and I know a lot. Why do I know a lot about the religion? This. For those of you who don't know what this is the book that Jehovah's Witnesses use now when you're studying the Bible with them. Okay, this is what they use. What does the Bible really teach? So this is the book they use, and I just want you to see what I did. Okay, I just want you to see just how in depth I got into this. Okay, I highlighted all the way through page 161. If you look, there's a ton of highlighting. I stopped at page 161 because, well, although I did read further, and I read the other chapters, I kind of wanted to take a break for a little bit, because that was all I was doing. Reading 161 pages of what does the Bible really teach from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. The Watchtower Crap Society. Alright? So, there's a lot. See, they use these pictures. Okay, they use pictures. They use let's see here. They use like, it's hard to explain the way they do it. Okay, they make it seem so happy. Their religion's so happy. They make it seem as if it's perfect. As if there's nothing wrong. I'm just trying to look for perfect things that are perfect, and and then of course we move on and oh, look at oh, I found the truth. This is real. It's perfect. And so basically this whole entire book talks about the Jehovah's Witness religion. If you want to read it, you should. All right. The reason why I think you should read a lot of the Watchtower literature is not because I want you to believe it. You have to be careful though. All right, because when you start reading this, because of how simple the language is, all right, I'll just pick I'll pick a page. Let's see. I want something to I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about. The way they word things, it's so discreet. It's so it's almost all right. Their analogies are perfect. Okay. So this is what it says. Imagine you are running away from a vicious enemy. He is much stronger and faster than you are. You know that he is merciless because you have seen him kill some of your friends. No matter how hard you try to outrun him, he keeps getting closer. And it says, in a sense, you are being pursued by such an enemy. See, then you have this. You see a picture like this. Oh my gosh, they're so happy. I mean, they got their little Watchtower and Awakes, and they're reading this great literature, and they're just so happy. Is it real? The question shouldn't be, is this happiness? Because it is happiness. The question is this pure happiness, or is this manufactured happiness? There's a lot of things manufactured by the Watchtower crap society that are manufactured. There's manufactured truths, there's manufactured happiness, there's manufactured everything. Everything is manufactured. Everything is manufactured, and it's manufactured so that it's perfect, so that it all fits. It fits in a perfect line. All right. Then you have this book. All right. This is probably another very important well, to us it's not important. Actually, it is to a certain degree, but another very important piece of literature for the JWs. Reasoning from the Scriptures. So you have a lot of this literature. You have a lot of this, crap, that they publish. As a lot of you will begin to know, my coffee is my friend. I always have my coffee by my side. Coffee and I are very close. But I in this particular video, what I want to talk about is, in particular, Christmas, the holidays, the pagan holidays, because that's what the Jehovah's Witnesses talk about all the time. oh, this is pagan. Is it really? What I want to do is I want to bring you to jw.org. All right, I want to bring you to jw.org. And it talks about what does the Bible say about Christmas. Now, it talks about the history of Christmas customs. It talks about celebrating Jesus and how, the early Christians did not celebrate Jesus. But where do they quote this? Do they quote it from the Bible? No. They quote it from the World Book Encyclopedia. Then they talk about December 25th. There's no proof that Jesus was born on that date. And no, there isn't. Is there proof that Jesus was born on December 25th? No. But is there proof that he wasn't? No. And then it says church leaders likely choose the date to coincide with pagan festivals. How do you know this? Oh, well, there's a lot of information that, Christmas and paganism is connected. Yes, there's connections, but how do you know church leaders chose this? How do you specifically know that these church leaders chose it? Why are you clumping it all together? Why are you making these assumptions? I hate that. I hate when people make assumptions. Gift giving, feasting, and partying. And again, they don't cite anything from the Bible. They cite it from Encyclopedia Americana. Can you believe this? So their root of the reasons why they're not celebrating Christmas is not even from their own Bible. It is from, get this, an encyclopedia. What's an encyclopedia? It's a book of information. It's a book of information published not by God and his disciples and his apostles. No, by regular humans. Now, if we were to look at humans in a light as Jehovah's Witnesses do, humans are of Satan. Particularly humans that are not within the Jehovah's Witness religion. Is the World Book Encyclopedia a Watchtower publication? No. These are people of the world who are not part of their religion. So what does this mean? They're taking something right from the worldly population, a book that is worldly. Therefore, in their mind, in their head, this is a Satanistic book. I'm just using their type of reasoning. Then we have the Encyclopedia Americana. Is this a book published by Jehovah's Witnesses? No, this is a book published by the world. Therefore, because it's a book published by the world, see, do you see what I'm trying to get at here? But if an apostate, for those of you who don't know what apostates are people who do not accept Watchtower policies, Watchtower prophecy, Watchtower doctrine. We don't accept of that. Now, of course, it's a little bit more serious when you're talking about an actual person who is within the religion, because then you talk about, getting disfellowshipped, and that's for another video. But we are talking about some serious things here. Encyclopedia Americana. It is not a Watchtower published book. It is not a Bible. It is an encyclopedia published by the worldly population to talk about things and topics that people usually need to think about. So why is this religion? It's supposed to be a religion, therefore of God. And if this religion was God's true organization, why are you citing encyclopedia? Why are you citing things from the encyclopedia? Why can't you just back all this information up from the Bible? Because you can't. You can't. There's nothing in the Bible that talks about Christmas customs being of paganism. There's nothing. Nothing. Christmas lights, the Encyclopedia of Religion, mistletoe and holly, the Encyclopedia Americana, the Christmas tree, Encyclopedia Britannica, and the list goes on. The list goes on for other topics. The cross, other holidays, other things. There's one scripture they talk about, and it's Exodus 5:7. I am going to read Exodus 5:7 from in the context that they want you to read it in, and then I will read it to you in the actual context that the Bible has it in. So Exodus 32:5-7. So this is how the Jehovah's Witnesses want you to look at this, or the Watchtower wants you to look at this. When Aaron saw this, Exodus 32:5 is where we're starting. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it. Then Aaron called out, "There is a festival to Jehovah tomorrow." Okay? So they got up early on the next day and began offering up burnt offerings and presenting communion sacrifices. After that, the people sat down to eat and drink. They got up to have a good time. Doesn't that sound like Christmas? Jehovah now said to Moses, "Go descend, because your people, whom you led up out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves." So you read Exodus 32:5-7, and you think that they are referring to Christmas. You can't celebrate anything in the name of the Lord. But let's read Exodus 32:1-8. 1-8. Meanwhile, so Exodus 32:1-8. Meanwhile, the people saw that Moses was taking a long time coming down from the mountain. So people gathered around Aaron and said to him, "Get up, make for us a god who will go ahead of us, because we do not know what has happened to this Moses, the man who led us up out of the land of Egypt." At this, Aaron said to them, "Take the gold earrings from the ears of your wives and your sons and your daughters and bring them to me." So all the people began taking off their gold earrings that were in their ears and bringing them to Aaron. Then he took the gold from them and formed it with an engraving tool, and listen to this, he formed it with an engraving tool and made it into a statue of a calf. They began to say, "This is your God, O Israel, who led you up out of the land of Egypt." So now we get into 5-7. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it. Before what? The calf. The false god. Then Aaron called out, "There is a festival to Jehovah tomorrow." So they got up early on the next day and began offering up burnt offerings and presenting communion sacrifices. After that, the people sat down to eat and drink. Then they got up to have a good time. Jehovah now said to Moses, "Go descend, because your people whom you led up out of the land of Egypt, they have corrupted themselves." So basically, they corrupted themselves, not because they were celebrating in the name of the Lord, but because they were celebrating in the name of a false Lord that they were calling Jehovah, or as in other translations it would say Yahweh, or the Lord, capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, and of course the ORD is in a smaller caps, but in a smaller font size. Let's go to verse 8. They have quickly deviated from the way I commanded them to go. They have made for themselves a statue of a calf, and they keep bowing down to it and sacrificing to it and saying, "This is your God, O Israel, who led you up out of the land of Egypt." So they want you to read that scripture in the verse of how they interpret it, not in the way that it is presented in the Bible. See, folks, that's a problem. That's a serious problem when you are cherry picking even Bible verses and using them in the wrong context. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. I can't stress that enough. Okay, so let's first go to one. Go to gci.org. I'll actually put a link up in the description. gci.org has tons of articles talking about paganism and how we need to really how we really need to draw the line as far as that goes, where paganism is just totally being misused and misworded and everything, how the Watchtower does. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. So, gci.org, keep that in mind, because it's actually a Christian website, and for those of you who are with a Christian, these articles will really help you. I know they've helped me come out from the doctrine that these people were trying to instill in me. Now I will talk about something in a minute, but so paganism, where should we draw the line? Where should Christians draw the line? Paganism is a highly controversial subject, and it's true. There's a lot of origin, wedding rings, wedding ceremonies, funerals, statues of animals and people, and flower gardens and homes and things like this, money, days of the week. So, how careful should we be? How careful should we be when it comes in terms of, taking these quote pagan origins out of our lives? Because that's what the JWs want you to do. Take all paganism out of your life, because it is wrong. But where should we draw the line? So, a lot, as you know, the JWs forbid Christmas and Easter because of the pagan origins. They are careful to do what God says, and if God tells them to avoid paganism, then they carefully do it. Some are so careful that they err on the side of forbidding too much. But they err. They make commands about the things God doesn't command. That is a sin. Let's talk about Corinthians, or example of the Corinthians. Let's first go to Acts 15:29. All right. we're gonna use a lot of the Bible, because it's very important. You know, the Bible is God's word to us. So Acts 15:29. And a lot of times I'll actually use right from their own Bible, even though I hate their translation. 15:29. To keep abstaining from things sacrificed to idols, from blood, from what is strangled, and from sexual immorality. If you carefully keep yourselves from these things, you will prosper. Good health to you. Okay, so, you know, in the first century church, Christians were, as it says in this article, Christians were told to avoid meat that had been sacrificed to pagan idols. So, however, the Apostle Paul told Corinthians that they could eat meat sold in the public market, even though the meat may have been sacrificed to an idol. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 10:25. Okay, 1 Corinthians 10:25. Let's see. 10:25 says this. Eat whatever is sold in a meat market, making no inquiry because of your conscience. Very important. He told them not to eat in the pagan temple. In other words, he told them to avoid blatant paganism. What is blatant paganism? Going to the pagan church. Therefore, going to a non-religious church. Okay? Now, so even if some Christians think we should be vegetarians, and some do, we don't have to abide by their conscience. Let's go to Romans 14:1-8. Okay? Romans 14:1-8. Whoops, I went a little too far. 14:1-8. Welcome the man having weakness in his faith, but do not pass judgment on differing opinions. Oh my goodness. One man has faith to eat everything, but the man who is weak eats only vegetables. Let the one eating not look down on the one not eating, and let the one not eating not judge the one eating. For God has welcomed him. Who are you to judge the servant of another? To this his own master he stands or falls. Indeed, he will be made to stand, for Jehovah can make him stand. One man judges one day as above another. Another judges one day the same as all others. Let each one be fully convinced in his own mind. The one who observes the day observes it to Jehovah. Also, the one who eats to Jehovah, for he gives thanks to God. And the one who does not eat to Jehovah, and yet gives thanks to God. Not one of us, in fact, lives with regard to himself only, and no one dies with regard to himself only. For if we live to God, and if we die to the Lord. So both, if we live and if we die, we belong to Jehovah. And it says right here in this article, Paul says that we have freedom, but we are to use our freedom in a sensitive way. I think that sums up, generally, the how Christians should view the Watchtower, and how horrible this religion is. I actually refuse to call it a religion. How this cult controls people. Their way of interpreting the Bible, their way of thinking, their way of everything, their way. These 7 men in New York are the ones who are making your decisions, Jehovah's Witnesses. They're the ones making your decisions, these 7 men. And a lot of people call it, a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, they call it, you were asleep, they were asleep. You know, it's honestly sickening. It is sickening to even conceive this. It's sickening to conceive this idea that these millions and millions and millions of innocent people are subjecting their lives to 7 men. We need to pray for these people. We need to pray for the people who are in the religion to wake up. See, some people are mad at the individual Jehovah's Witnesses. I am not. I am not mad at the individuals within the religion. They are mere puppets of the cult. They are mere puppets of the 7 people who are controlling this religion. These 7 people in New York, they know it's a cult. They know it with all their heart and mind. They know that this is a business. This is a business tactic that they're doing. They know what they're doing. These people within the kingdom halls, even the elders, they feel they're doing it for God. And nothing is going to change these people's minds who are within the kingdom hall. The ones who know what they're doing, they're the ones at the top. They're the governing body members. That is where the problem lies. It's not even the Bethelites. It's not in the pioneers. It's not in the publishers. It's none of them. The problem lies in the governing body. Because they're the ones making the doctrine. They're the ones saying, oh, apostates are the ones who are mentally diseased. They're the ones making this BS. They're the ones who decide what goes in this or not. June 15th, 2014. Watchtower. I want you to turn to page 17. You can get this right from jw.org. Under the subheading, Who Really is Your Neighbor? We may think of a neighbor as a person living nearby who is a close and helpful friend. But consider what Jesus said when a certain self-righteous man asked him, Who really is my neighbor? In response, Jesus gave the illustration of the neighborly Samaritan. I don't know. So, let's see. I'm just trying to read on. So, they talk about real neighbors. So, we cannot, according to the governing body, according to the people publishing this magazine. We can't love everybody the same. We can only love certain people with all our heart, mind, and soul. Actually, no, we don't even have a soul, according to them. Our material or our physical body is soul. So we cannot love everybody with our full heart and mind. Only those who are Jehovah's Witnesses we can love with our whole heart and mind, because they have the truth. They're the ones who are of God. They are the ones who have the pure righteousness of God. It says to read Luke 29 through 37. Let's just go ahead and do that, just for the sake of this. Luke 10:29 through 37. But wanting to prove himself righteous, the man said to Jesus, "Who really is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man who was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell victim to robbers who stripped him, beat him, and went off, leaving him half dead. Now by conscience a priest was going down on the road, but when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. Likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the opposite side. But a certain Samaritan traveling the road came upon him, and at seeing him he was moved with pity. So he approached him and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine on them. Then he mounted him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, then gave them to the innkeeper and said, "Take care of him, and whatever you spend besides this I will repay you when I return." Who of these 3 seems to you to have made himself neighbor of the man who fell victim to the robbers? He said, "The one who acted mercifully toward him." Jesus then said to him, "Go and do the same yourself." I don't understand the context that they're trying to kind of impose on people. I don't understand it. I'm trying to read it in the context of how the JWs want you to read it. When they saw a man who had been robbed, beaten, and left high. So, we can't. The general gist of this is, only certain people you can love with your whole heart and mind. The only way the way you can show people of the world your full love is by just offering spiritual help. And how is that? That's how you show truth. That's how you show love to people of the world. The only true people who experience these people's full and complete love are those who are within the congregation. It's sad. It's very, very, very sad. Yes, these people are good people, and their intention isn't to hurt people. But because the intention of the governing body is to control, and ultimately greed is the big contributing factor, the only people who really reap the benefits are those within the JW religion. It's sad. It really, really is sad. We've got false doctrine. We've got false. Even within their Bible, there's false. They change things so that it fits their belief system. It's ridiculous, and it needs to stop. And the general public needs to know about this, because they're knocking on your door, ringing your doorbell every Saturday morning. And you may be thinking, wow, these people are very nice. You know, they want people to genuinely be a part of their religion, and you know, there's no other religion that does that. No. You know why? Because they want people to come, because they have their individual their individual free will. They want them to come out of free will, not forced upon them by the people knocking at your door. No. That's why there is, other than the Mormons, but that's why these two religions do that, and no other religion does, is because it is all about getting people. They need to destroy people's faith and foundation from underneath and rip it up, so that these people believe that their religion is the true religion. That is the facts. That's the facts. And there's no two ways about it. There is absolutely no two ways about it. And it's sad. I am going to do tons of videos. I am going to do tons of them. There is so much. There's so much. There's so much about this religion. There is just so much about it that, you know, I'm gonna make tons of videos about this, and I'm gonna, you know, if I find current events on the JW religion, I'll do videos on that and things like this. And there's just so much. And I'm gonna be doing a paper on my personal insight onto the JW religion. So there's going to be a lot of information, and there's tons of YouTube channels on here. You have JW Struggle, you have Kim and Mikey, you have there's tons of them. There's just, look on YouTube. You will find the truth that way. That is the truth. That is the truth. It is a cult. It is a cult. If you were to ask, and I'm gonna make an inference here. If you were to ask the communist government or the Nazi government if they're a dictatorship, they're not going to answer they're a dictatorship, because people have a negative view on dictatorships. They know it's people trying to rule over other people and control them through you know, whatever. The way they'll word it is they'll say, oh, well, you know, we believe that everybody, you know, the way that the communists will word it is that, oh, you know, we're doing it for the better good of people. You know, we want people to understand that this is for the better good, and that we need everybody that we look at everybody as good people. Oh, you're good if, you know, the only way you're good is if you're under the folks who are at the top. and that does it poses a very interesting concept here, that it just goes more deep and more deep. And there will be another video that I will do a video on you know, how the governing body, the reason why they don't like us apostates is because we're questioning their authority. We are questioning their authority, their intelligence, when ultimately these folks, they have nothing. They are as dumb as a bucket of rocks. So there's so much to it, okay? So if you were to ask the communist governments, oh, are you guys a dictatorship? Oh, no. We're just here to help people out. You know, we want everything to be equal. If you were to ask the Nazis, oh, we're just here because, you know, we want Germany to reign as the greatest country of the world. And we want you know, we want everybody to see that, and we want everybody to, you know, have a good life. Yeah, if you're just a blue-eyed blonde hair person who's Christian and who isn't Jewish. See, intolerance, that is what these regimes held. Intolerance towards certain people. With the communists, it's intolerance towards people of certain social or economic classes, towards people of certain, and then you had the Nazis who had intolerance towards people of certain races, intolerance towards people of certain religions, intolerance. There's intolerance. Okay, with these people who have the iron fists. Now, what's socialism? Those are the communist or the violent regimes. You can compare those to the Islams. What about socialism? Well, socialism is basically you basically mentally attack people. There's this control. There's this and the way they do it is through fear and through guilting people. So there's a good connection between socialism and the JWs and Mormonism. So and basically it instills fear into people instead of having this intolerance, thus killing people because of it. There's so much that you can get into with this. I mean, there's tons of books about this as well. I mean, you know, but when you look at what the Bible really says, not what the Bible really teaches according to the Watchtower Crap Society, when you look at what it says when it comes in terms of what God wants you to know, you understand the pure glory of the Trinity. God, or the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And you understand the true glory of all of it. And you become to understand everything that the Bible wants you to figure out. And you learn so much rather than just what they want you to learn through the Watchtower Crap Society. So that was my first video, sort of introducing myself. In my next video, I'm gonna have to do a part 2 to my introduction because I didn't get to what I wanted to talk about somewhat. You know, I wanted to get to kind of talking about, how I started studying and stuff like that, and who I was studying with and things like this. But we'll get into that in the next video, and we'll get into some other things as well. So have a great, fantastic Tuesday, and remember to just have faith in God. So let's close out with a prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this wonderful day, and thank you for all the blessings you give to us. Help all of us in the XJW community, those getting out of Bible studies, and those really following your true word and not the word of 7 men in New York. And help us see your true glory, and help us find your way, the way of you, your Son, and the Holy Spirit. Help us see the glory of true Christianity and not false Christianity like the Watchtower does. Help us to become better people in the name of you and your Son. Help us to become who we really are, and help us find the real truth through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.